We have 9 days left. We have 9 days left to put an administration in office that respects your individual liberties, respects the police, wants to change what's happening in our education system and make sure that Gretchen Whitmer never serves in office again in the state of Michigan.
We are in Detroit, Michigan, and we're going to be spending the day today with Republican gubernatorial candidate Tudor Dixon. And hopefully we'll have a little time to talk to the voters, too, to find out what they care about with this election coming up. So how's it been?
It's good, very good. It's been kind of shocking for the Democrats because the momentum has been such a quick swing.
Tudor Dixon won the Republican primary on August 3rd, just days after receiving a last-minute endorsement from President Trump.
I had one of the folks from the media ask me an interesting question. She said, I listened to your acceptance speech, and I listened to your speech tonight, and I think you hit Whitmer pretty hard. Do you think that you're coming off as a mean girl? The truth hurts.
With almost no name recognition, she was trailing incumbent Governor Gretchen Whitmer by almost 20 points. But within weeks, she had cut Whitmer's lead in half. And by October, the two women were in a dead heat.
All across this country, we have a very clear choice between those who are more interested in furthering their own selfish ambition versus strong, courageous leaders who are committed to upholding the Constitution.
Tudor Dixon is one of those leaders.
Dixon received some unexpected help on the campaign trail from former Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. Gabbard announced she was leaving the Democratic Party in October and has since been traveling to campaign with candidates like Carrie Lake, Joe Kent, as well as Tudor Dixon. Tulsi, how did you choose Tudor as someone you were going to campaign with?
Really for a lot of the reasons that she's talked about. Democrats at different levels across the country are cowering in fear of these radical woke ideologues who are in control of the party. When you put Tudor Dixon up against Gretchen Whitmer, there's no comparison when you're looking who's the right leader for the right time in this state.
You ready to take our state back?
She's honest with the people. She's committed. She can persevere. She has a plan. She doesn't just talk about a plan like Gretchen Whitmer. She tells us what she'll do, how she'll do it.
I think there was also the Roe v. Wade, and there was some doldrums after that where it was like, oh, no red wave.
And that has definitely been their message.
When Roe fell, Mrs. Dixon celebrated that. I am fighting to protect our right to choose.
Now, there's a ballot measure on the ballot this year in Michigan to add abortion as a constitutional right.
So now people are starting to say, okay, well, if you wanted to vote for that, you can vote for that separately. But really, what are we going to do to get our kids back on track?
Mrs. Dixon says that I kept students out longer than any other state. That's just not true. Kids were out for 3 months.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just heard an audible gasp around town when Gretchen Whitmer said that kids were out of school for 3 months. We even had schools that were closed this year. This is shocking to me.
Not on my watch. That doesn't happen in a Dixon administration.
And we'd like to put a focus on reading, writing, and math. Get away from some of this woke stuff.
Dearborn, Michigan is a heavily Muslim community, and the Muslim community has always voted Democrat. I had a man come to one of our rallies a few weeks ago, and he said, we found these books in our school, and when I went to the Democrat elected officials and said, we've got to do something about this, they pretty much told him, we want nothing to do with you. He said I was called a bigot and a racist. And he said, I'm done. I will never be a Democrat again. I won't be voting for a Democrat. And he said, I'm going to talk to the people in my community and tell them they need to vote for a Republican. Because it was funny, he said, no matter what the issue is, environment or all of this other stuff that the Democrats are talking about, he said, at the end of the day, my kids are the most important thing to me. And if they're not willing to stand up for my kids, then I'm done with their party.
Yesterday, they had Barack Obama here. Did you hear that?
I'm going to read you two headlines. One says, Whitmer signs order aimed at lowering insulin costs in Michigan. These are actual headlines. All right. Second headline, Michigan Governor hopeful Tudor Dixon, eaten by zombies in gory horror film. actually have anything else to say.
He's not attacking my policies or my plan because he can't.
Everything is going up. Cost of gas, childcare, even a box of cereal costs $4. Look, I can't solve the inflation problem.
Gretchen Whitmer has come out and been very clear that she believes there's nothing she can do on inflation, but she's actually had several opportunities to put money back into the pockets of people. So we know there's an opportunity to reduce the personal income tax, to give a gas tax holiday, to make sure that we make it less expensive for Michiganders here to live. I mean, I've obviously been vocal about the policies that President Trump brought to the state of Michigan, and that's something that was crushed in just such a short period of time since he left office. My father brought a steel foundry in Michigan. I worked with him on the shop floor for many years, so I got to know the heavy equipment industry, but also the automotive industry, the big automotive companies. They're obviously not coming to Michigan. You see them building new factories. They're going to Kentucky, Tennessee, Ohio, Indiana. So when I talk to these young men about, you know, we don't have this national security issue taken care of when it comes to people understanding metal and how to make metal, they said, gosh, it's funny because every time I heard America first, I never really got it until I realized once we lose it, we don't have it.
Yeah. Now, your things that you were talking about were business, education. What was your third one? That was your crime.
We are also going to restore public safety. I want to put $1 billion new into policing to make sure we can recruit and retain police officers, to bring back honor to that career.
Crime is rising across the country. You've seen a rise in crime of 4%. Michigan is over 8%. Michigan has 4 of the 20 most dangerous cities in the country. We had Barack Obama kind of mocking the whole crime issue.
There's a lot of talk about crime right now. It's gone up in conservative and rural areas, not just in the city. Over the last 7 years, not just the last 2, by the way, they act like the other guy wasn't president when some of this stuff was happening.
One of the local papers did an article saying that we have lost a police officer a day in Detroit this year. That's shocking. When you don't have the support of the chief executive officer of the state.
Governor Whitmer joined to express her support for the spirit of calls to defund the police.
She vetoed funding for secondary road patrols. She vetoed funding for corrections officers. Now, in the last few weeks of the campaign, all of a sudden she supports police. They don't want to put their lives on the line every day because the cops are telling me, man, we could get shot or we could go to jail, and it's not worth it. But if you don't provide public safety, which is one of the fundamentals of government, then you're going to have people run wild, and we certainly don't want to end up in a situation like we see in New York right now.
When you listen to what Tudor Dixon is talking to people about what she's hearing from people, it doesn't get any more real than fighting for your kids, fighting for your jobs, fighting for our economy, fighting for safety and security. It does not get any more real than that, which again just shows how out of touch Barack Obama is, and frankly, Gretchen Whitmer as well.
I don't think people understand and appreciate what we have here, and I want to protect it, and Tudor Dixon will do that.
The future of our students and really the future of our state is on the line right now. We have to get our kids back on track. We have to also make sure that we have safe cities, and we have to make sure that people can achieve the American dream. Those are all things that we can do if we get Gretchen Whitmer out of office.